Hi, everybody. Mitch Tanenbaum here. Thanks for joining me today. This is the Security News Update for July 10th, 2022. The first item is an interesting thing. Microsoft has rolled back. They decided to go off and block by default Office macros or certain kind of Office macros. And they rolled it back kind of cryptically, saying that they're reversing their decision after receiving feedback. And they haven't explained what the hell feedback means, but obviously something didn't go right, whatever that was. And now they are undoing it. So hopefully, since everybody said that finally it is long past due to block Office macros by default that are downloaded, hopefully they'll figure out what they did wrong and fix that. Next, in the privacy domain, we have a new challenge here. The UK and a couple of EU countries have signed agreements with the United States to share biometric information with Border Patrol. They're doing this so that, if they grab somebody's biometrics, they'll have something to compare it against, and be able to figure out whether these guys are good guys or bad guys. The problem is, of course, this is going to be a massive database with all kinds of biometric data in it. And as we saw last week, large government databases are not immune from being compromised, sometimes self-inflicted compromise. And if your biometrics are compromised, how do you undo that? How do you fix that? There's really no way to fix it. So that's a little scary because there really is no way. You can't order a new set of fingerprints from Amazon. Probably can actually, but it's a real challenge. So we'll see. Next item is Apple has announced something called lockdown mode, and this is something I think that people are going to have to kind of wrestle with. I don't know. Excuse me, that there's a simple answer to this, but basically what it does is it dramatically reduces the attack surface for your Apple devices, your iPhone, iPad, and Macs. They do this at a trade-off for less user friendliness, and you have to decide, do I want to be secure or do I want convenience? And the great news is Apple is actually offering this now, which nobody else is offering. Everybody else just says, well, we understand what's best for you, whether we do or not. And now, people who are at higher risk can make this decision as to whether or not they want a more secure environment or a more convenient environment. So, for those folks who are high risk and who choose the more convenient environment, then if and when they get compromised, they know who to blame because all they need to do is look in the mirror. Under the patches conversation, this is relatively straightforward, but Google released an emergency patch for Chrome. It said this is a bug in WebRTC that is being actively exploited in the wild. So if you haven't updated to Chrome 103, you should go do that. On the legal front, the dance between ByteDance, the parent of TikTok, and the U.S. government continues. Last week, there was a whole bunch of audio recordings of calls where it became very clear that Chinese employees of TikTok had access to U.S. Citizens' data, something that TikTok has been trying to pretend doesn't exist. They finally now have said that the data is stored at Oracle, but that, of course, has nothing to do with who has access to it. You can store it anywhere. And so they say, well, we're working on security protocols and hardening things, and we shall see. But clearly, there's a lot of folks who are unhappy. And the last administration tried to block ByteDance. That did not work. They lost in the courts, and I don't know what the right answer is, but I think it's going to be pretty dicey. I don't think there's going to be an easy solution. On the education front, I've included links in this week's newsletter to 3 different FBI educational brochures for employees. One is on economic espionage. The next is on the insider threat problem. And the third is on protecting yourself during business travel. These are great things that the FBI has put out for educating your employees. And I would invite you to look at them and see if they're appropriate for your security program. On the breaches or hacking front, the Russian Space Research Institute was hacked. This is in response to pro-Russian activists hacking several NATO countries. These guys stole about many gigabytes worth of data. Actually, I don't think they said how many. But previously, the same group, which is anonymous, and they've been really super effective in this particular cyber attack situation. They stole the phone numbers and passwords of 80 million Russian mobile phone users. So anonymous has really a kind of a bit of a come and go past in terms of how successful they've been. But when it comes to this particular situation, they've been very effective. So depending on which side you're on, that's a good thing or a bad thing. Next, in the outsourcing can be a problem sometimes. Apparently, the unemployment and labor departments in most websites, most states, outsource their websites to third party. And there's one third party called Geographic Solutions Incorporated that seems to own the lion's share of the market. And they had a cyber attack, so they went down. What that meant is about 40 states, labor and unemployment websites went down as these guys went off and tried to figure out what was going on and tried to recover from it. So, states like Louisiana, Florida, California, Indiana, amongst many others, people couldn't file unemployment claims, they couldn't update claims, and in some states they were not getting unemployment checks. So that's a big problem, and that goes back to the vendor cyber risk management stuff that we talk about all the time. And if you need help with your vendor cyber risk management program, obviously we'd be happy to help you with that. Next, publisher Macmillan shut down their systems due to cyber attack. And they try to minimize things, but apparently their sales team sent out a message to their customers saying they could not process orders, they couldn't receive orders, they couldn't place orders, and they couldn't ship orders. So that pretty much, is everything of any importance to a publisher. How long they'll be down for, we don't know, but certainly that's not a good thing for Macmillan or for their customers. And in the cryptocurrency is, continues to get hammered, just hammered. Here's a $9 million cryptocurrency hack. Maybe it's too small to talk about. It's only $9 million, but Solana was hacked, and they lost more than $8.78 million. So, the big question becomes, what do people do? Because there's for the most part, these guys don't have insurance. And I think for those guys, it is really, really hard for them to get insurance, even if they wanted to go buy it. So next, some of the daily posts. It used to be that facial recognition was hard, and there were folks like I can't think of their name, but the big company that has gotten in a lot of trouble for scraping all kinds of websites and stuff. This is now available for free for anyone. You upload a photo and it matches. Now they say, well, you should only go off and do this for yourself. But if you're a stalker, you upload somebody's picture and you'll get anything that kind of looks like it's the same person for a few $100 a month. You can get an enhanced level of service, like you'll get an alert every time a new photo of that person comes online. Now, of course, that does leave a trail. So if you're a stalker, you might not want to do that. But certainly going off and periodically uploading a photo and seeing what kind of matches there are, that's great. And HR teams could use that to see what you've done, or any number of things. So the days of privacy, unfortunately, I think are pretty much gone. Next, in the kind of a continuation of an earlier item, in the downside of massive government databases, I was talking about the Border Patrol database. Apparently, the California Department of Justice inflicted a fatal wound to themselves. They opened a new portal for concealed carry permit holders and applicants, and apparently didn't bother to secure it. And so they exposed the information of everybody who applied for a concealed carry permit or got one. Why? This includes judges and law enforcement people, officers, rape victims, just, I mean, just victims of domestic violence. It's just a mess. And California did not do a great job in terms of how they handled it once it became public. You know, they still have not said whether they know whether people have downloaded or not, but what we're seeing on Reddit and other forums like that is that we know it's been downloaded and it's available all over the place. So that's a real problem, real security problem. The geniuses in California said, well, we'll give you a year of credit protection. That's really good when you know a crazy person comes to your house and shoots you. At least your credit cards are protected. So, you know, I don't know what you do. I mean, that's the challenge with government databases. You know, they're big, they're massive, and you know, the government, I think they mean well for the most part, but do they have the best security? No, they absolutely do not have the best security. And as I said earlier, Apple is now giving you a choice in terms of your security, whether you do, you know, convenience or whether you do security. I think this is going to be an interesting conversation for the executive suite and for the boardroom. You know, they got to make a decision in terms of, you know, for people who have access to sensitive information, you know, which is more important to them? Is security more important? You know, do they want to be able to stop folks like the NSO group from hacking them? Or do they don't really care, and they, you know, convenience is what's important to them. But the key thing here, you know, assuming you do get hacked and you didn't do this, then I think you're going to have a lot of explaining to do in court to say, well, you know, we thought security was not very important. Convenience was much more important to us. So we just opted not to turn on these features for key executives and board members. I don't think that's going to turn out well in court. So you just have to make a decision about what you want to do. And in the security news bite items, Zoorat is hijacking a whole bunch of small office and home office routers. You really do need to make sure that those routers are still supported and they're actively being patched. There's patches for this, but you have to deploy them. HackerOne is an organization that companies outsource their bug bounty programs to. And they found one of their employees decided that he wanted his own bug bounty program. So he was grabbing bugs out of the database and selling them on the side and keeping the money. So that's kind of nifty. They fired him pretty much on the spot as soon as they discovered he was doing that. The UK is trying to pass a law to make providers like Google and Facebook and people like that, make them liable for detecting child sexually exploitive material, which is now used to be called kiddie porn. Now it's called CSAM. And they want them to do it even if it's encrypted. You know, it's a challenge. I mean, there's a couple of ways you might be able to do it, but what it may well be is, you know, and the folks don't really like playing chicken in the marketplace, but you know, I think you could say, well, you know, every place else in the world we do end-to-end encryption, but in the UK it's really against the law. So you know, your government has mandated that you don't really have a right to privacy. You know, if you think that's a problem, you should contact your government. But in the meantime, we're going to be snooping on all your stuff because that's the law, and we don't want to run the risk of a penalty of whatever is 6% of global revenue. So sorry about that. Now, whether or not they're willing to play chicken, I don't know. You know, one of the things that is true in the EU, I don't know how true it's going to be in the UK, is they pass these ridiculous laws and then they say, well, they did good enough, so we're not going to go bugging about it. So, if they make an effort to do that, will the government say that's good enough? I don't know. It's certainly possible. So we'll see that. I don't know when. The FTC, this administration is a big fan of right to repair law legislation. That if you buy something, you should have the right to be able to repair it. So the FTC has affirmed that you do have the right to repair your barbecue grill. Now, so just in case you didn't know that you could repair your barbecue grill, the FTC has affirmed that you can do that. Apparently, the nice folks at Weber, the big barbecue grill company, have told people if they repair their barbecue and they don't use genuine Weber parts, they're going to go void your warranty. There is this law that has been around for decades called the Magnuson-Moss Act or the Moss-Magnuson Act. I forget which. And that basically says that users have the right to repair their stuff, and they don't have to buy the parts from the manufacturer. So apparently, the FTC they didn't fine them that much money, but apparently the big fine is that they're required to reach out to each and every barbecue grill owner and tell them that if they repair their barbecue grill, that they won't void their warranty. So that's interesting all by itself. And lastly, we're seeing more and more cryptocurrency scams. We had one this week where a cryptocurrency company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Now, we don't know, because I think this is the first one to ever happen. What happens to your money? That's now part of the bankruptcy estate. Will you get it back? I don't know. When might you get it back? I don't know. Bankruptcy cases, I've been involved in some as a claimant, where they've gone on for 5 or 10 years. What's the court going to do here? That's probably really the only asset these guys have. Are they just going to go off and open the doors and say, knock yourself out? I don't think so. But they're in the story, they're talking about somebody who invested most of his life savings in cryptocurrency, and it's like, that's just not terribly bright. So I think it's really important that people understand, yes, cryptocurrency is cool. It's highly volatile, and you could potentially lose it all. That's certainly an option. So if you're investing your Starbucks money, you're good. If you're investing your rent money, well, you better think about whether that's really the right thing to do or not. So, if you're contemplating lockdown mode, if you have high risk individuals, including yourself, or high net worth individuals who might need either a little bit more or a lot bit more security, please contact us. Until next time, thank you for listening, and we appreciate it.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized businesses. They include everything needed to secure your business and meet compliance requirements. Visit our website at turnkeycybersecurityandprivacysolutions.com to learn more.